welcome to this live webinar. We are talking about how investors in diaspora can buy real estate in Nigeria without tears. And if this is the first time you are meeting me, I am Tosi Omotosho. I'm a real estate and business lawyer, lead counsel at Caris Legal Practice, and I've worked on 200 and counting real estate transactions over the course of my practice. So today I'll be sharing very practical tips that I have picked along the way working with clients. These tips have helped my clients so much, and they are not just for those who are in diaspora. Even if you're in Nigeria and you want to invest in Nigeria, they will be very helpful for you. So we'll be taking it step by step right from the beginning. So this video is perfect for you, whether you are a new investor or a seasoned investor, you know nothing about investing, you would find these tips very practical and applicable to you. Welcome once again. So what's the first step when you want to invest in real estate? And of course, I have to quickly chip in that investing in real estate is different from buying real estate. So investing means you're doing something for the purpose of profit. It's different from just buying real estate. All right. So that's very important. I have to quickly make that distinction. So what's the first step? I want to buy real estate. What do you do first? It's you decide, okay, I want to buy real estate. What exactly do you want to buy? Do you want to buy land? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy carcass, that's a half-built property? What location? Where do you want to buy it? You have to decide on this. For what purpose? Do you want to buy for capital appreciation, or you want to buy for cash flow, or you want a kind of investment that gives you a mix of both? So you get capital appreciation and then you also get your cash flow. Fantastic. So you need to decide on what you want, because that is what will guide everything that you want to do. All right. So when you decide on this, the next step will then be to start searching for the property. Okay, so I need to give you a heads up. If this is you're going to do your first investment, that you will need some patience. Yes, you will need some patience. Now, if you are in diaspora, it has become so easy to search for properties, because online, right here on YouTube, there are a lot of opportunities that you would see. You would find a lot of real estate companies. You will find a lot of realtors talking about their properties that they have for sale. So it's a very perfect place to start searching. So of course, when you are searching, you tell the realtor what exactly you are looking for. In fact, as a matter of fact, if you're working with a really smart realtor, that's the first thing they will ask you. They ask you for your budget, what location, what type of property, and a host of other questions so that they can serve you better. And I also have to chip in that when you're investing in real estate, you have to know that it's not a do-it-yourself project, all right? So type it in the comment section. Real estate investing is not DIY. You need professionals. It literally takes a whole village for you to have a successful investment. You need professionals who are seasoned in their work and who are competent and who have built a portfolio, who have pedigree to help you. All right, so the number one person you would be talking to first will be your realtor. Your realtor is like your matchmaker. They're the ones who would match make you with the property that you want to buy. Okay, so never forget that. So you start the search, you tell your realtor, and then your realtor starts searching for you. So if you are in diaspora, for instance, it could be difficult for you to come down physically to Nigeria to inspect the property. And I always insist that my clients go for a physical inspection. But if you are in diaspora and that's difficult, thanks to technology, you can have a virtual tour. So you can have a virtual inspection where your realtor, a lot of realtors do this. Your realtor will do a video call and take you. In fact, they could even start showing you from the road. So you see what the environment looks like, driving down to the property, you see the area, you see everything. And then that helps you to make your decision. Please don't skip this. It's very, very important. All right. So when you now do the search and you have found the property that meets your goal, a property that fits in to the decision that you are taking in the first step, then the next step will then be the due diligence stage. And if you're wondering, so see what is due diligence, I know it might sound like some really big grammar, but trust me, it's not. It's something you do every day. So I'll give you an example. You are watching this session with a device. It could be a laptop, it could be your phone, it could be a tablet, or you could even be watching on TV. Now, when you wanted to buy that device, I bet that you did some form of due diligence because, of course, you had in mind what you wanted to buy. So I recently bought a phone, and before I bought the phone, I went online. I look at the features. I was particular about some particular features, so I was looking for a phone that had what I wanted. That's due diligence. Due diligence is simply you wanting to do a transaction and you're trying to make sure that you're protecting your interests. Easy peasy, like my son says. That's it. So it's the same thing with real estate. When you want to buy real estate, you have to make sure that you put in all the necessary effort, take all the necessary steps to be sure that you're securing your interest, that this property you want to buy is good, it has good title, there are no legal issues and no physical issues, everything is just fine. So that's what due diligence is. Now, part of due diligence is doing a physical inspection because, of course, you have to see what you want to buy. And then after doing that, you need your lawyer to then go ahead and do the title checking for you. So every area of our lives, there are laws that guides it, and real estate is not exempt. There are laws that guide real estate. There's a way to go about real estate, and if you're buying real estate, you have to ensure they are not breaching any of those laws. You have to ensure the transaction you are doing, you are contracting with the right party, because if you pay to the wrong hands, it's going to be disastrous. All right. So you want to be sure that the person who is selling to you legally has the authority to sell. The person has legal title. And by title, I mean ownership. Because if you are giving money to someone who is not the owner, trust me, you might just have dashed the person money. And of course, you might be able to recover your money, but that's going to take a lot of time. And personally, I would rather that you don't run into this sort of trouble. I would rather you prevent running into this kind of trouble instead, rather than going into it and then trying to find your way out. So as much as possible, I love to use a preventive approach when I'm working with my clients. If I can prevent it, by all means, would prevent it. So part of what you do at the due diligence stage then is you're going to get your lawyer to do the necessary checks on the title. So let me quickly run you through a few examples. So recently, someone had reached out to me and he wanted to buy a property. So he's a doctor in the US and he had linked me to the realtor. So the realtor said, there's this land that we want to sell. He told me the location. I asked her the questions. And of course, I asked her the question I would always ask too. What's the title? Who is the owner? How did the owner become the owner? Because we need to know that story. Do you get my point? We need to know how that owner became the owner. Ownership can come through different ways. So she said, okay, this owner bought from somebody, and that it was originally that the root of title is excision, and that there's an excision on the property. So root of title means you're tracing down to be sure that the property has gone from the right party to the right party. People who have bought and resold. There are no legal issues in that trade. All right. So I said, okay, if the root of title is an excision, the usual thing is an excision is usually published in a gazette. So I said, I would need the details of the gazette so that I can confirm that there's good title. And you won't believe it. It's almost 6 months we're yet to get the gazette. So my guess is as good as yours. Maybe there was no gazette. So my clients would have just paid for nothing. Yeah, stories like this happen. There's still one I'm working on recently who my client was going to buy a property. And so they sent us the document and I looked at it and asked and said, so is the name of the owner on this document? Is she the one selling? And the person selling to us said, no, she's not the one selling. That is her son. And I said, legally, what the law says is once something is written down, it is strictly taken as written down. So if on a document, for instance, I write my name as is belonging to me, Tosin Omotosho, I cannot come and use my mouth orally and say, no, actually, although it is my name on it, I actually bought it for my son. Except I then transfer to my son. The document, for all intents and purposes, belongs to me. All right. So in law, what is written down in a document is interpreted strictly as it is on the document. That's why documentation is important, and we will get to that really shortly. We are on due diligence stage. So I said, if the name of the woman on this document, if she's not the one selling, and her son told us that he bought the property in mama's name, we can't buy from you because there's nothing tying you. There's no legal document tying you to this document. If it is written on it that the property belongs to your mom, then mom's own it is. Except you have something and unfortunately the mom had passed She had died. And so I said, except Mama wrote a will and willed this property to you, or you've applied for letters of administration and it's been granted to you, or in Mama's lifetime she had made a document transferring the property to you. That's when you will have legal title. So these issues are very important, and that's why you can't, remember I said it takes a village to raise a child. It's the same with real estate. You can't do it on your own. As a lawyer myself, when doing my own investments, what I would only do is the legal part. I would still get other professionals to work with me on it. All right, it's very important that I have to state that. Okay, so let me know in the comment section if this is helpful to you. All right, let me know if this is helpful to you. So the due diligence stage is where you get to do all the investigations. I have a name for this stage, and I call it the FBI stage. It's that stage where we are doing all the checks, we are doing all the necessary, we are questioning, we are grilling, we are looking at the documents to be sure that the person who wants to buy property is not going to lose money. Okay, it's very important. We do all the tracing. So there's something called the root of title. You know that when if a tree has its roots is mango, of course it's going to have what fruits? Mangoes too. So it's the same thing. If someone is selling property and they have any issues with their ownership, they can't transfer they can't transfer good ownership to you. It's trite. It's like me saying, oh, my husband loves me so much, and then I can take anything. I take his phone, and then I say, oh, I like you so much, just take this phone. The phone is not yours because I don't even have capacity to give it out because it's not mine. You get the point now. So that's very important and very crucial. So that's about title. Another thing that you also have to pay attention to at the due diligence stage is the location of the property and the identity. So this is where you now also need a surveyor, because you can have a situation where the document that is shown to you, the location of the document on paper is different from what you're shown in real life. So it's your surveyor who will be able to go to the property, look at the location, get the coordinates, and then see that it correlates with whatever document that you have. All right, that the seller, rather the person selling to you, has. All right, very important. So you can't do real estate alone. You need these professions. At the least, if you're buying land, you need a lawyer, you need your realtor, you need your surveyor. If you're building, you would also need some more professionals. But at the least, these are the three people that you must work with. So that's the due diligence stage. And you can only go ahead to the next stage, which is to make a purchase, when you have been given a positive report by the professionals you're working with. If the lawyer has looked at the title and says, yes, it's safe, these people have good title, they're good to go. And the surveyor to also gives a go ahead and say, yes, the documents that they have shown, I've checked the coordinates and they match. So then you are then good to go, and then you can buy the property. So a few quick tips here when you're buying property: ensure there's a paper trail. So of course, no cash, no cash transactions. Ensure that you don't just pay, you make sure that you pay and there's proper documentation. And by proper documentation would mean a deed of assignment. When you're making payment, a deed of assignment is a document that transfers property from the seller to the buyer. So if I'm selling a property to you, I will be the seller. My name will be the seller on the document, and I would sign the document transferring ownership of that particular property to you. I've got a video on the deed of assignment on my YouTube channel. I'll leave the link to the video down in the description box below. All right, so that deed of assignment is very important, that as you're making payments, the parties sign. The people are selling to you, they sign. You also sign. Your witnesses would sign. All right, in some instances too, there'll be a contract of sale. So if you're buying real estate, for instance, at this junction, I have to quickly state this, that if you're buying real estate and you're paying in installments, meaning you're not doing like an outright payment where you're paying the full fees, then I've got a video too for you on my YouTube channel. The link will be in the description box, where I talked about what to do when you're buying and paying in installments. All right, so you have the documentation done, you make payments. Congratulations. Now, if you are in diaspora and you cannot physically come, by all means, I tell my clients, if it's possible, you can come. But I recently closed a deal for a client of ours in the US who couldn't come physically, but he had his family members here. So you can nominate your family member to represent you, and then your lawyer did a video call so you could see all the process of when we're signing, and then After the seller had signed and the witness, we then ship the document to him. He signed, and then he sends it back. We give the seller their own copy, and everyone is happy. All right, so that's one way you can go about it. Now I have to state that you have to take possession when you buy real estate, because a lot of times real estate has two sides to it. So there's the documentation side, and then there is the possession side. And what's possession? Is you being in physical occupation of that property. Now, you know, real estate is fixed. You can't carry it. So if you buy any other thing, once you buy it, you buy a car, you drive it out of the showroom and it goes with you. But with real estate, it's not so. So even after you bought a house at Chevron Drive, the house is still there. You can't carry it. But you have to be put in physical occupation of that property. So when you buy a house, it's really easy to take possession. You change the locks. So you're not going to be using the locks that was given to you. So you want to change the locks, of course, for security purposes, so that you can know that only you can gain access to the property. But if you're buying land, it can be a little tricky, especially when you're not developing immediately. If you are developing immediately, perfect. Not developing immediately, there's still a way to do it, because I don't want you to lose out on investing in real estate because, oh, so say I want to buy the land, I want to develop immediately, I want to do this, I want to do that. You can do it step by step. You can take it step by step, all right, so that there is no excuse for you not to invest in real estate. All right, so you take possession. If it is land, if you can do a fence, no matter how short, build around it. If the area where you're buying land is somewhere that people already live, fantastic. Make friends with your neighbors. Go and say hi to them, talk to them. You can have your realtor or your lawyer do a video call for those who are in diaspora, and they can speak on phone. So you can tell them, I'm the new owner. Please, if you see any strange faces that doesn't look like mine, please give me a call. You can exchange phone numbers. All right. I also know that some realtors offer services where they would still help you pay regular visits to the property. Okay, so you want to take advantage of that. You talk to your realtor, they might be able to help you with that, because you don't just want to buy land and leave it there for years. So I know that our parents, most of them, they bought land that way. They bought the land and left it there, and they still came back and it was intact, but it's risky. So you can have documents, but you might lose possession. Maybe someone has trespassed on it, and then although you have documents, you have to go to court for the case and all. And remember, I said I always, if I can prevent something, I would rather prevent it than allow you go to it. So that's why I'm sharing these tips. So you retaining possession is key. If it is land that someone can farm on, why not? You can give it out to someone to farm, but ensure that you give the person a tenancy, a receipt, showing that they are not owners of the land, they are just using the land, and collect some money. It's not really about the money. If it is not a land that's attracting so much money, even if it is small money, collect it from them and make sure they're paying maybe yearly or 6 months, and you're issuing receipts to them. So don't, but by all means, don't just buy land and leave it bare. But if you're buying from a real estate company and it's within a gated estate, it's sweet. I mean, it works perfectly fine. All you need to do is to can get someone to visit often. Lands in gated estates are usually difficult to trespass, because of course, before you get access to it. So if there's going to be any trespass, maybe it will be from those who are beside you, who want to take 2 inches, 3 inches, 2 square meters, blah, blah, blah. So which is why I usually say do a fence around it once you have bought the property. Another thing I forgot to add is, as part of the documentation stage, you also need a survey plan too. So you want to survey the land. So you could call a survey like an identification card, because every piece of land has a unique number called coordinates. So that's the field of surveyors. So, but let me just quickly chip in that. So your surveyor would need to do a survey plan in your name, showing the exact location and the coordinates of the land. So in addition to the deed of assignment, fantastic. So at the purchase stage, you make sure that the necessary documents are signed, drafted by your lawyer, and you also ensure that you take possession, very important. Please make sure that you do both, because I know that some people are under the misconception that possession is the most important. No, it's not the most important. Both are important. Both of them are important. So Now that you bought the property, you have entered possession, you made payment, and you have your deed of assignment, the very last stage will be perfecting your title. And now that's a whole curriculum. So perfecting your title means perfecting your title with the state government of the state where your land is. So it could mean you applying for a certificate of occupancy. If the property didn't have a certificate of occupancy before, you apply for a certificate of occupancy. But if it has a certificate of occupancy, you apply for governor's consent to the transaction that you did. All right, so it's very important. I would also drop a link in the comment section, in the description box below, for a video on more details on C of O and governor's consent. Now, I hope this has been helpful. I can see questions here, so let me look through the questions. Amazing. All right, so let me quickly add that for those who are watching the replay of this live stream, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. And I've got a book that I wrote, and it's on red flags to avoid when investing in real estate. When you're driving and you see the color red, what does it tell you? It means stop. It's the same in real estate. A lot of times people see these signs, but because they don't know, they go headlong into transactions that run them into trouble. So I share in that book, and it's been downloaded by over 600 people. It's for free, so you can check the link in the description box. And you remember I talked about due diligence. So I have a detailed masterclass on due diligence. It covers buying land, buying a house, buying from families, from communities, from companies, from individuals, mortgages, off-plan, very detailed masterclass taken by over 75 people. The link is also in the description box. And if you would want us to help you out with any of our legal services, you can always click the link in the description box too. Fantastic. All right, so I can see a question. So gas them up. What has stronger legal precedence? Is it the title and deed? Is it the title and deed or the certificate of occupation? So that I take that to mean certificate of occupancy. So the title has a stronger precedent. The title ownership has stronger precedent than the C of O, because people can actually go ahead and get a C of O even though they don't have good title. And that's why I talked about the root of title. Very important. It seems that possession is 9/10 of the law in Nigeria. Okay, so can you tell me how you got that figure? I will be glad to know how you got that figure. Last question. Many people purchase real estate from these estate developers and they make monthly payment. They're not getting title documents. So I will drop a link in the description box below where I talked about buying property in installment. So it's kind of a little different from when you're buying and paying outrightly. So because when you buy and pay in installments, they're not going to transfer the ownership of the land to you immediately when you have not finished paying. What they would usually do is to give you a certificate of a contract of sale. But you can watch the YouTube video. I will leave the link below. All right, any more questions? For those who are watching the replay, drop your questions in the link in the comment section, and make sure you check the link in the description box. I've got a lot more videos that you would love, that would help you invest safely in real estate in Nigeria. I hope this has been helpful. Let me know in the comment section if it has been helpful. Thank you.